Pleasant Sunday, ahead of us, and a good, week gone past. Hopefully, we should the containment measures that have been put by the government, I think, should yield some positive benefits versus some of the other countries. So I think, yeah, good for us to sort of hang in together and do more of these online sessions. And continue the work that we are doing and continue to interact with each other. We had a similar interaction yesterday of our handles, and you can see some of the content which came out of that. So I can say that the startup community is extremely enthusiastic about being in touch and using these tools and staying productive during this phase, which is excellent. Great. I think, look, the topic that was given to me was consumer tech. Now, consumer tech is everything apart from enterprise tech. So it tends to be extremely broad. I think Arpit, Sanchita, even Alok, I think may have spoken about some of the spheres already, specific ones, health, etc. So I won't dwell on them. I think prime for me at this point of time, as we do some stargazing into the future, what is going to definitely change is media and entertainment. And I don't know how many founders who are in the media and entertainment space they have joined. But look at our own habits. The newspaper has become thinner if you're still receiving it. We are logging onto the internet far more for updates. So certainly news and staying updated is getting far more digitized. And that is going to be the trend of the future. I think give or take a couple of more weeks, I would imagine that print media at least is something that consumers are not going to go back to in a hurry, because simply they're going to find it easier to shake off this habit, because the whole news fare in the media world is far more richer when it comes to digital content, and you can easily browse it, you can easily save it. You can come back to it, you can and stay updated with alerts, etc., which is simply not possible in the case of print media. So that, I think, is going to change forever. In terms of entertainment, we know that social distancing is currently in place. And until the vaccine is found, and even post-vaccine, there is going to be an impact on how we consume entertainment. I feel that it's going to become a mass sort of personalization story, where you are going to see something like what we used to have, or we still have, is OTAs in the travel industry, where all of your needs, you just place some filters, and what you do is you get a plethora of choices, and within that you make the choice and then finally purchase and compare prices, etc. Paying for such content is going to be now easier, because you're going to be saving the effort in terms of going to a venue or experiencing things which required lack of social distance, at least in the pre-vaccine era, and I think even post-vaccine era, our habits are going to change. So that leads to a very important aspect, which is consumption of bandwidth, consumption of the internet on your mobile device. I would see that a lot of people are going to be investing behind upgrading their mobile devices. I know it is all shut right now, but expect that someone who's got a 5,000 rupee phone is going to want to purchase a more advanced phone so that they can run their lives. Because if they were feeling at this point of time that the device was not capable of doing everything that they possibly wanted to, I think they will need that security going forward in the future. Which means that apps are going to be becoming part of our lives. We are going to be needing more bandwidth at home as well. So I would assume that a lot of networking solutions at home, productivity-based applications which help you to spend your time far more judiciously, even on the mobile device, keep it free. Security software which keeps your phone free of any errors, viruses, things like that, which helps you to, basically ensure that you actually have um, no possibility of downtime on your personal devices. That is all of this, I think, is going to take off in a big way. Uh, we are already seeing, I mean, Zoom is a productivity tool for many companies now. They're conducting full-fledged meetings, webinars of this nature, conferences. Travel is going to come down. Uh, Going through the airports and suffering the commute is not going to be, I think that is all changed forever. So uh, um, consumers are going to get, and business professionals are going to get used to saying, hey, we know each other. Why do we need to meet face to face? Some 20 to 30% of meetings will go online in formats like these. So therefore, productivity tools which help you to manage your calendar, manage your mobile devices, keep it free of errors, make sure that you're absolutely up to speed on the entire usage pattern and on your business. More and more business is going to flow through devices, and more social interactions are going to flow through devices. So that is going to be the way of the future. And startups, I think, which are wanting to or have products in this area, should take heart that consumers are going to be willing to pay for it. Earlier, we used to hear that consumers in India, especially, don't want to pay for technology products. They don't want to pay for any tech, and even merchants, for example, they don't want to pay for anything. But I think all of that is set to change. People don't want to undergo disruption in their daily lives by whether it's a black swan event or something else. Earlier, it was okay to apologize and do some compensatory maneuvers, for example. But now I think it's going to be a way of life to keep everything absolutely functioning digitally, and that is going to be your fallback option, and that can't fail you. So I see the world sort of changing around us, even at home. Uh, I think internet-based devices, automation at home. Some of these are great themes which will happen. We're going to digitize more and more of our lives to be in control. I think gaming. I wasn't there in the early part of the webinar, so gaming is definitely taking off along with media and entertainment. Orias has just made an investment in a gaming company. I think more of these will come up. The reason is pretty clear. Again, it will be about social distancing and hygiene and all of that. So crowded game parlors, unless you're doing a active, passionate physical sport. So some of these crowded establishments, I think it will all shift to a lot more personalized fashion and being on your device. So I would see that for good or for bad, gaming devices sales should also go up during this time. Software, etc., should go up during this time. Audio, all of that, I think, is going to take a lift off. Along with physical wellness, I think mental wellness is also something that has got affected for many of us, being at home and trying to find peace and trying to do the things that we wish to do and keeping our lives normal. So there's going to be a new normal, and mental wellness is going to be a part of that. So I see some of these trends sort of coming up. People are going to try and do more with less. I also see that trend coming up. We've all sort of been thoroughly exposed, and if I may say, embarrassingly exposed to whatever excess that we have in our lives at home, and some of that is going to obviously flow into our decision making in the future. Discretionary spending, because of the economic hardship that this black swan event has caused, is going to stay in the economy and the global economy for a few years, if not more. Depends on the stimulus, but it is going to be something which is going to stay in our minds. So that is going to get impacted. People are going to be more choiceful about whatever discretionary spending that they're doing. So I think that is also going to change our sort of lives forever. Yeah, so these are some of the trends. I think that somebody must have spoken about education, more of education online. I mean, webinars like these are also forms of education in the professional community. We'll see a lot of that coming over here. I'm sure in the health sphere, uh, some of the panelists would have spoken about this, so telemedicine or video consults. I think all these doctors who are sitting in their clinics, having a queue of patients outside and patients wanting to wait to meet the doctor and patiently sort of waiting over there for about 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. That is going to be not the way of the future. They're realizing that the clinic is not their only mode of operation. So they will want to move to a digital method of more, consultations. That is going to bring about also changes in the regulatory side, because there's always a fear that a face-to-face meeting can't be really recorded in a doctor's clinic, but some of the others methods it can be recorded. So I think doctors will have to just deal with that concern and fear up front and go in that direction. So that's a bit of chatter from me, but I think we've got half an hour, so I'll probably go into the Q&A if that's okay.
Yeah. Hey guys, actually, please raise your hands. Thank you, Anup. Actually, yeah. Manpreet.
Hi, sorry. The question was actually for Alok. Then I don't mind.
Okay, no, Alok is.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Alok is not there, so you can write your question. Actually, Alok
I have written it already. Yeah, it's there.
Alok will reply. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Jain. Karan. Karan. Yeah, I think actually. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is some questions here in the Q&A, but I don't think they apply to my session. So
yeah. So what we'll do, Anup, what we will do is actually we will go through the Imran's actually session. Okay. Meanwhile, people can keep asking the questions. Okay.
Yeah, somebody's asked a question here. How is e-commerce going to get impacted? Do you predict any change in the flow of events to cater to tier 2 and 3 cities? By B. Nayak. Yeah. So e-commerce non-essentials has got impacted. I think discretionary spending overall is going to reduce, and that is definitely going to have an impact on both offline retail and e-commerce retail. It's just part of the same categories. So whether it's apparel, whether it's all kinds of sort of discretionary spending is going to get impacted. Flow, I don't know. So in terms of demand, if that was your question, then that gets impacted. So another question from Sunil: what opportunities do you see in B2B2C space for large FMCG, especially special tickers and essential goods? So I think there's something that I haven't spoken of. Maybe some of the speakers would have covered it. I see a lot of mass personalization through technology taking off, and I referred to that earlier on in the conversation. Consumers are going to be more receptive to productivity tools, things which help them save time. They're going to be more liberal with parting with information on digital applications to get a meaningful output, to get a productive output. So if you are making a consumer tech platform which is taking people's preferences in a certain category and delivering products according to that, I think that is going to be welcome. Certain spheres will be ahead of others, like health, wellness, even consumer products, which are made with ingredients which suit you or which take into account your preferences. So I think some kind of mass personalization over there is definitely going to take off. Offline retail is getting affected. So that therefore leads to a lot more less discretionary spending, and wherever the discretionary spending is going to happen, careful decision making. Does the brand really suit me? Does the product really suit me? I think some of those concerns will come up. People are not going to have so much disposable income or a feeling that they have disposable income left over after covering certain essentials. So therefore, that is going to be it's going to be hard to win the consumer's wallet. But if you see some value over there, then that's what it is. Disruptive technologies or services do you see in farming, Jay Kumar? Yeah. Sorry, someone was speaking.
Yeah. Kiran, actually, do you have a question?
Yes. Hey, Anup, thank you for insights. We are actually into the online food catering platform, which aggregates all the caterers with us, where we supply food for all functions for B2C and as well as daily meal supply to the B2B corporates. My question comes here is that, due to this COVID situation, how this industry is going to be, and how will there be any behavioral change, and will there be any resistance in getting food? Is where I just want to understand your perspective.
So look, staying well. I think we'll all agree that during this phase, one of the big things that has come up in the consumer's mind is boosting their immunity, right? That has become a big theme. What that means is that, more and more careful examination of diets is going to happen from consumers, and certainly within families. I don't know about the younger people, because, when you're young, you think you're invincible and life carries on. But even there, some changes are going to happen, no doubt. So authenticity of ingredients is going to be in focus. Cleanliness and hygiene, I think, is one of the positive impacts of this entire event, which has happened in our lives, down to the last worker working in the kitchen. I've worked in the restaurant industry before. One had to monitor really how many times is the staff washing their hands, using gloves and all of that. I think it's going to be less effort to make them do that, even though the backgrounds that they come from are quite modest and it's not part of their lives. So I think that is definitely going to be in focus. Great amount of transparency. I would say that if you can expose your kitchen to your B2B customers and say, look, I've got a camera, you can see my operations at any point of time. I think some of these credibility enhancing initiatives are going to cut a lot of ice with consumers in general. They would want to see, with regards to food, what they're consuming, how it is being prepared, what is the quality of the ingredients, and the source and all of that. And I think preparation and hygiene during preparation is a big focus that will come up. Look at our own habits. Even while we are speaking right now, essentials delivery is on, so food is allowed. But the biggest of apps, whether it's Zomato or Swiggy, the food delivery has come down. So overall, consumers are very sort of suspicious, unless proven otherwise, about the hygiene aspect. So I think some of those confidence building measures will be extremely necessary, and you can even premiumize your products based on authenticity and the standards that you're taking. So those are going to be differentiators going forward, and I think it's going to be hygiene, so to speak, especially in the food industry. Yeah.
Okay.